We're getting closer to the end. The championship battles are now hot focus, and Alfa are going to be there or thereabouts. No likely there at the end of the season, and evidence enough that they are on the front row once again. Fisichella on pole, having won a few more races recently. Sabine Whitman alongside, and then a cavalcade of the rest of the World Super Touring Championship for round 9. About to put a foot down. Adrian Michael Rees here alongside Michael Swinnerton. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon indeed.
As we scroll through the rest of the field there, you'll see some news about some of these drivers later during the race. Some teams sticking with what they know best. Some teams announcing some major changes through driver choice or manufacturer choice as well. But let's see what happens heading towards Hauhag in turn 1. Braking area for turn 1. And off they go. Bogged down Ekstrom there with Lammers alongside already. Jimmy Webber up to 5th. The Alphas already. But it looks like Wittmann's down the inside. Ekstrom with the wobble on. But Wittmann bailed out there. I'm pretty sure she was side by side with her teammate through the tight hairpin put in place since 2002. Polo up to 4th. Good start for one of the poorer performing teams this season. Nicky Lammers down to 5th. As the high-speed traffic jam enters Kazaumbidung. The shortcut from the Grand Prix course. This is the DTM layout.
Yeah, Lammers there just proving what Honda have been struggling with all year, which is being able to get off the line. He's qualified well and gone backwards a little bit. He's managed to regain a little bit of that ground back. So he's going to have to go on the attack now to try and make something of this race.
Another reason why Thompson is planted in 8th place in the championship, much like he's placed in 9th place right now, behind Nico Wirtz. There's Ingram also copying Thompson's line over the chicane there, the NGK chicane. Coca-Cola curve and single file, except Rydell wanted to have a nose down the inside there.
Yeah, Ingram's got a bit of a later turn-in point there, and Rydell was trying to capitalise, but realised that was the vortex of danger and the door was always going to close there, so smartly backed out of it. Worth pointing out, once again, Renault, their early season form, both of them qualified outside the top 10. Aiello, there's a dive that was never going to go anywhere. Well done, Sir.
Sophia Schneider's brakes. And another reason why BMW might not be getting all that they defended for since winning the championship, or at least Jimmy Webber winning the championship last season.
Yeah, they've just had one too many mediocre results so far this season, but Aiello cutting his way through the traffic quite effectively there, so trying to make something out of the bad qualifying position. We'll have to see. Going round the outside of Ingram. That was quite the move. We'll have to see if Gasho can try and follow his teammate through.
Decent bit of space of tarmac through Kazanbindung there, the little shortcut. Nice and wide in most places around the Nurburgring. Neustrecke since 1984. All variants aside. Changes in chicanes, changes in spectator sections. Whoa, Ingram's got a run through the traffic jam, bit of a bump. I think you got Thompson held up by Nico Wirtz, at least, or Duma rather, falling back.
Wirtz is definitely the head of that train, I think. I mean, Duma, once again, he qualified well, but kind of went backwards, which is uncharacteristic for a rear-wheel drive car. But here he is in 8th place, still the best of the privateers, so it can be recorded as a good day, regardless. But yeah, I think Wirtz is holding everybody up to a small degree. Wirtz just wrangling some speed out of this Golf before they sell it off and run it in other championships. So I believe it has been spoken for, this car, as has Suarez's.
Yeah. The privateer campaign of Volkswagen's begins in earnest next year. America, Japan, Europe. Perhaps we'll see a couple. Well, we'll talk about the full lineup at some point. But the news is no Volkswagen has been picked for the Worlds in Season 5. But there is going to be a German championship we might not be able to see, but I think reports of at least 50% of that lineup is going to be the Volkswagen team. Whether that's a Golf or a Scirocco, we'll wait and see. Gasho doing what you expected him to do earlier on, getting through some of the traffic, especially around the side by side with Sophia Schneider. Questionable brakes aside, but Schneider's rear-wheel drive acceleration out the Warsteiner curve, making sure that she means business for Ad van Bogen, but then very politely decides to let Gasho take the advantage, only for him to grace the back bumper of Felix Rydell, doing quite well for a 12th placed Tamiya Honda privateer outfit.
Yeah, he's in the points. That's what they need. Gasho's not quite managed to follow his teammate as effectively, but he is slowly but surely working his way up there. Aiello, meanwhile, has kind of stalled out a little bit, still stuck behind Thompson, who is in turn stuck behind Dumas, who's trying to make something of it. It's a bit rough.
Their manufacturer chase stalling just as much as Aiello's pace for P10th there. Might not be enough to close in on Alfa, who are just still at the front. BMW aren't catching them though for that manufacturer's campaign. Even if Jamie Webber almost hindered by Nicky Lammers.
I was going to say, not for lack of trying, because Webber's trying to get his way past the Dutchman in the Honda.
Dutchman in Honda's best performance. He's eclipsed what he managed to achieve last season in this outfit, in this championship. Carlos Palou also making sure that Ford stick with him next season too, even though Ford are still sticking with their tried and tested focus. Not their best season.
No, absolutely not. They're going to have to really try some new things and work out what's going wrong with that car if they want to become competitive again. I mean, they've had flashes of speed, so we know it's in there. We know the potential is there. They just need to find the fix that can make them consistently front runners instead of knocking around outside the top 10 playing with privateers, because I'm sure that's not what they want.
As far as winning championships is concerned, Volkswagen perhaps the only front-wheel drive World Super Touring champion. Perhaps the model is to go rear-wheel drive, and Ford's only rear-wheel drive option would be a Mustang, and that's not going to fit.
It would have to be a Mustang with an EcoBoost engine in it, which I'm not sure how well. I mean, you can buy that out the showroom. It would absolutely fit within the rule. Oh, wait, I don't know if it has a 5-door entry. It might not fit within the rules.
And moving on to Aiello still being stuck in P10 with Ingram chasing. Ingram definitely chasing.
Yeah, Ingram's
bit of a wake-up call for Aiello there.
Past. We've seen a lot of yellow and blue action so far this year. Oh, that was a shunt up the straight.
And that was
there.
even hotter, yellow and blue action. Bit too hot. Thankfully, it was censored by the front of the ring. Oh,
he's pushed Aiello. He gave him a bump draft. Got Aiello alongside the Honda. I think that might be Anthony's plan here. He sees that Aiello is faster, he just can't find a way past. So if he can push the Renault past, they can work together to get past Thompson and then get off up the road after higher and loftier positions. Although Gasho has got himself through his little bit of traffic, so he's now going to be catching and joining this fight.
That's teamwork, potentially teamwork a few laps down the road. Ingram with the wobble on the brakes. Well, defended by Thompson at the exit of Coca-Cola curve, but the Honda power eclipsed by Aiello's braking into turn 1 Haughagen, now in the Mercedes arena. Fisichella still with the fastest lap out in the lead, clear of traffic. I'm expecting that lap to be toppled in a few laps from now.
Yeah, Fisichella's got a decent bit of breathing room. Probably not as much as he would like, although he has won a good chunk of races this year. So he's definitely making his mark on the championship title fight, as is Sabine Whitman here in second. Alfa Romeo are definitely coming alive at the right part of the season here to have a crack at becoming two-time winners.
Kenny Extras will be very happy with his performances throughout the season. He'd like a win, but Alfa mean business, and that can't be helped.
Yeah, Ekstrom's already got himself a podium. So he's had some ups and downs this year, which is
Volvo favourite, no way a rookie, even though the rookie badge is on the back, purely for the sake of this championship. But he will win, no doubt, that particular campaign. There is a Rookie of the Year championship based on the championship points.
Well, I have just been reminded that Ekstrom won race 2 at the Red Bull Ring. So, yes, he's the only rookie with a race win this year. So, he probably should get the Rookie of the Year honours. Everybody just staying line astern here. Webber still can't find his way past Lammers. Just like Aiello can't find his way past Thompson. So, Honda's being roadblocks, both of them. Forming a bit of a traffic jam now.
Fisichella taking about 100s, bit of a shave off his personal best. Still not being toppled by anyone else. It's a Volvo sandwich.
Ingram sending Aiello through the corner again. He's getting more and more impatient.
Correct me if I'm wrong, it's a Volvo baguette.
Sure.
How could I forget?
Whoa, that's a move.
There's a move.
That was very opportunistic.
The filling has flown out of the baguette
into
education again. And it was Ingram all along.
Either way, he's clear of that traffic jam now. He can get on up the road after the Wirtz-Dumas battle.
Excellent reactions from Ingram there to being squeezed by the Renault pairing.
Yeah, he saw everybody slow down at the kink and just thought, I'm not doing this again. Just kept turning a little bit longer than everybody else and managed to squeeze his way past. He was very lucky not to go clattering into the back of Aiello and sending that Renault into oblivion.
And Aiello almost did that on Thompson with a bit of a stall on exit. Decent spreads, they're still close. You can see 19th place in the back of this shot.
Yeah, someone's car is not behaving there, only just now going down the start-finish straight. That does always seem to be the way. Meanwhile, Thompson now having to defend from 2 Renaults rather than 1. It'll be interesting to see if they hold each other up and start having a squabble as to who is going to mount the charge here. Schneider, meanwhile, finally getting herself past Rydell, taking her a few laps, but she's there, so she's probably going to join that fight now.
BMW have seen better days, not the best of days at Deep Forest Raceway. Webber could be higher, but Lammers also making sure his defence well taught by Thompson. He'll keep the 5th place. So still plodding along. 4th place, closing in on Ekstrom of all things. This could be good.
Seems to be closing in on Whitman, so this might become a bit of a scrum for second place here. Yeah, Pallot's doing a good job keeping this Ford in 4th place. He's clearly able to match the car's speed around him, so it's not like he's holding anybody up. So he's definitely there on merit, on pace. This is the flashes of speed I was talking about earlier from Ford. Whilst it's not race-winning speed, it's top 5 speed, which is nothing to be ashamed of.
And that's the consistency that Ford are looking for next season, which is why Palou and indeed the Marcasalo campaign will still be with this team, with this car next season. They've recognised it was the car, not. I mean, people were thinking maybe they should off the drivers. Ford see it otherwise. They know that they've got work to do, and they know it's not with the drivers.
Plus, there's a lot of speed to be found in having, even if a driver doesn't do well one year, it's not necessarily the smartest idea to can them.
And here's a contradiction in terms. Wittmann defending from extreme earlier, but now on the back bumper of Fisichella.
Yeah.
So that might have been a blip.
She might have just been deliberately backing off to cool the tyres down and get the car back to a comfortable state for her. Plus, we also don't know what kind of team orders may or may not be going on, and if they're just doing some formation flying at the front of the grid here. But you would assume they would want the German driver in the lead at the German-held venue.
That being said,
I don't think they did that for Italy. No, they didn't. As Fisichella won race 1 there.
But would that keep everyone happy? I mean, they'd keep Alfa happy, but as you can see, this crowd here, would that be sparse if teams got their way?
I mean, the team are probably looking at it from a championship standpoint of it's a 1-2. You know, it's still going to be points regardless. And then as for the crowd, I mean, I've kind of seen more Sophia Schneider merch, if I'm being honest. If I had to do a head count, I've seen a fair few Alfa Romeo shirts and hats and things, but Wirtz has lost a place to Dumas. Now Aiello finds his way past.
That's it. And that's the other thing. Aiello, or even Gasho, is still, by the time this race ends, will be losing second place in the championship to Fisichella, all things considered. And that's why Wittmann is still perhaps keeping as low a profile as she possibly can, whilst also aiming for that number 1 box next season.
She wants it back.
Down the inside of the NGK goes Aiello.
Yeah, Aiello on Dumas
Their
there.
side-by-side battle. Coca-Cola curve. Let's see if this formation flying can continue. Dumas now ahead.
I thought Aiello was going to try for a crossover move there, and it didn't pan out.
There is 3 to go. On board Aiello, power down. That Renault power we saw at the start of the season is still definitely there. Dumas brave enough on the brakes. Dumas with Aiello didn't cut the corner too harshly there. Perhaps lost a bit of momentum. Wirtz still in 10th. Thompson's fallen back.
Yeah, that right there showed the advantages and disadvantages of front-wheel drive versus rear-wheel drive in slow speed corners. Dumas was able to maintain a much greater speed through the apex and then out on corner exit, whereas Aiello had to slow down a lot more to get the car rotated and then struggled to get the car moving again. Though he's already on the back of the Alfa now, so he can have a second crack into the chicane if he plays his cards right. Or he can just
plays his bumpers wrong.
Yes. Is he going to get the run? He's in the slipstream. He's in the tow. He pulls out.
Chicane coming up.
Dumas covers it off. I don't think he's going to be able to send it this time. There's also the factor, of course, of staying 9th would put you on the front row for race 2. Put him second on the grid.
Making sure Volkswagen have as much of a swan song as possible. But then Thompson and Schneider and maybe even Gasho will want to have their say in that particular response, that particular feedback. Gasho, Schneider with their personal battle.
Ooh, Schneider with a dive and then just parks it on the apex, allows Gasho to get back round again. That would have worked had she not stomped on the brakes.
Gasho's rear starting to slide a bit more. Also confirmation as Schneider goes down the inside of the penultimate and the final turn at the Mercedes Arena that Gasho and Aiello are to part company with the Renault team. I think we did pretty much confirm that previous round. Renault are looking for fresh faces for next season in the same machinery.
Yeah, plus Aiello and Gasho have been long-time friends, long-time Renault drivers. They are calling time on running racing full-time. They'll still do bit parts here and there. I believe Gasho's already signed up to do some historic racing in the off-season.
And it should be fun to see them, especially with the historic races where there's driver changes, because there's talk they're going to be sharing from classic Renaults, especially around Goodwood. That should be fun to see.
Absolutely. Although the thing I heard that Gasho will be driving is a BMW CSL, so we'll see what happens there.
Ekstrom still third. This top five, I think this has been cemented since almost turn one, lap one.
Well, the top three are still in their grid positions. That's how they qualified.
Ingram's set for seventh on this, the final lap.
Yeah, he hasn't really pulled away from Dumas that much, nor has he caught Webber that much. So maybe he burnt out his tyres with his hero move. Either way, seventh is still good.
I thought Aiello was going to be close at Kazan Bedung to get down the inside of Dumas. Not this time. Maybe in the next race. Let's see what happens. Midfield spread behind from Wurtz on down. So it's either going to be, is Fisichella going to break the fastest lap on the final lap? Is Wurtz going to remain in P10 and Paul? Brief glimpse of the 3M team, not their best days either. So Fisichella lights to flag. How do you like that? Alfa very happy. Check the flag being waved. Let's see if that triggers the fastest lap across the line. It does not. Subdued finish. But who's going to be pole for race 2, reverse grid? Schneider has managed to get ahead of Wurtz. Crowd are going to be very happy with that, especially the Schneider flags. Felix Friedel and Kobayashi scraping the barrel and getting some privateer, well-earned privateer points. 3M might need to find a better way out of the championship than being seen to finish the race on 18th and 19th, especially with Sergio Suarez Volkswagen being plumb last and not even seen to finish on camera either. Alfa putting the hammer down and will still be nailing the manufacturer's title sometime soon, and then potentially Wittmann mathematically still one hand on the title. Would you say that was a quiet one, Swinney? We saw some action, but not all that we expected.
Yeah, we've definitely had more lively races, but yeah, this race definitely wasn't without its own highlights, especially Ingram's hero move on the backstretch there. We'll have to see what happens in race 2 with a rear-wheel drive on pole again, but surrounded by a lot of fronties.
And during the break, I think me and Swinney will go on that roller coaster we see in the front of the stretcher. We'll have a good laugh on that. First time for everything. And we'll see you for race 2. Good racing, everyone.